Hey, good morning, YouTube. Yes, it is the morning. Sorry about the glare from the sun. It's beaming out here. Now, before I get underway with these knowledge nuggets that I use on a daily, not a daily, but every other project that I do, regardless as if it's an art canvas or a subwoofer box, uh, I'm going to go through what I do and a lot of the other little small minute details that actually will add up to something major at the end of your project. So first things first, anytime that you're making an epoxy box, the first thing you want to do is prep. So before you do anything, make sure you have all the necessary tools that you need to succeed the first time with making a very nice epoxy box. So the number one thing you need is coffee. You need coffee before you get these underway. And the reason why I say you need coffee is because you're gonna want to start this project early. You're gonna want to start it early. The second thing you're gonna want is sponge brushes. Don't use regular paint brushes. If you do, the hair follicles on the paintbrush itself will catch and wind up laying in your epoxy, and it's very difficult to get out them small little, dog hair type strains out of your epoxy once they're in there. And the worst thing that you ever want to do is start a project with a regular paintbrush, get all the way to the end, and notice that you got these little paintbrush follicles all throughout your box, and you won't be able to get them out. So oh, excuse me. So outside of the paint brushes, you're going to want your painter's tape. You're going to want your sanding paper, your lighter, and your tobacco. All right. So outside of that, oops. So first things first, after you got all the supplies that you need, you take your sip of coffee, get your painter's tape, and go around your box with the painter's tape. Now, it's very important that when you put your painter's tape on, that it has a very tight grip. The reason why you want it to have a very tight grip around is because this epoxy will leak. Once the chemical reaction of the epoxy starts, it's going to heat up. So all the wet epoxy is going to heat up, and it is going to affect the bond of the tape to your box. And essentially what's going to happen is you're going to start to notice as you work around this within the work time frame, as well as a little bit after the work time frame, is that you're going to start getting leaking of epoxy on the sides of your boxes. So once you start to get the leak, you just take your sponge brush and you rub that in on that bare side, and that's going to help to seal, any parts of the undone box before you get to that other side to start to work it up. So outside of that, once your tape is done around the edges, do your baffle too, because you just don't want that spilling into your box. You know what I mean? I do my boxes on the inside. You can see I already started. I do my boxes on the inside and the outside. This helps with overall box resonance heavily, especially when you lay it on heavy. It's more expensive, but the end result, instead of your wood sounding like wood, you'll notice it's rock hard. Most of my boxes have zero resonance as far as the box. Yeah, here you go. Great example. That's all epoxy. That's at least about 1/8 of an inch. Sometimes I even go not necessarily 3/4, but a little less under 3/4 if I want it to be incredibly brick hard. Again, that's a lot of money. But anyway, put your first coat down. And when you put your first coat down, make sure you don't use a lot. For this top here, I used 4 fluid ounces total. You can't get, yeah, I used 4 fluid ounces total. And with that 4 fluid ounces, I basically just hit the sides off. And the reason why I went for the sides first is because once this epoxy cures, it's going to seal, it's going to help to seal the painter's tape for your next layers that you're going to want to run. So hit all the sides off first, wherever you have it taped off. And then hopefully when you go and do that second cure, you have less leaking from the epoxy. So that's step number, well, that's some of the first steps. You got your prep, painter's tape, whatever paint / mica you want to use, sandpaper, and brushes. Make sure you have plenty of brushes. If you go to like Hobby Lobby, they're going to rob you. Just go to Amazon. You can get like 100 pack of these for around maybe like 14-15 bucks. You go to something local like Hobby Lobby or Michael's. Although I do support local business, you ain't getting nothing. You ain't going to get enough to do a whole project, that's for sure. So all right, that's the first video we got for epoxy boxes, and I'll hit off the second one here in a little bit after I finish my cigarette and have my coffee. Peace out.